Welcome to the Business of Pleasure podcast. It's your girl Kash, your sexologist bestie, and I'm back. Right now, we are still in the very sexy month of Sex Ed Month, Men's Health Month. We know we got a lot of stuff happening. Juneteenth, Pride. You know, I did have to put a little bit of yellow in my eyeshadow to make sure they could see me trying to bring them my eccentric roots out. You know what I'm saying? Shea Butter Sister is here, but I want to talk to the guys this month. And you know, we talked to my guy Tahoe, we sat down with Billy, and now I'm bringing to you somebody that I met in a really unconventional way. We went online on social media, right? And I think I saw a clip that he had on his page, and it somehow ended up in my algorithm. And I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, I like what these guys is doing. Went, checked them out. Small conversation led to, yo, let's get together, let's have a conversation. And when I tell you, I sat down with him and his co-host, and we had a really, really impactful conversation that month. They was family after that. So when I thought about who could I bring to sit down and talk to me that would bring the male perspective, but not just any male, a male who has experienced a little bit of life, who's mature, and who knows his way around the block. Because, you know, a lot of times the people who's listening to this are our everyday neighbors. So I said, hey, neighbor, pull up. I want y'all to really tap in on this episode because I already know from the pre-conversation that we had, he gonna be dropping all kind of stuff. Please, bro, please tell him about yourself. Tell him, you know, what you do and all that kind of stuff. And I want them to get a little familiar with you before I get all up in your business.
Well, my name is Ro. Everybody know me from Ro, like row your boat. We actually got a podcast that we do here in Bedford-Stuyvesant on our stoop. So, you know, we actually like to have people throughout the communities doing great things to highlight them. Because, you know, when you look at the news, they always got something bad going on with people from our communities.
Yeah.
So the one thing we wanted to do was have people in our communities doing impactful things, doing great things. So hopefully the youth could sit down and get inspired and motivated from it. You know, they say there's no more OGs talking.
No more OGs talking. You know what's so funny, though? Because I feel like it's that, but also a lot of the places where y'all used to be able to talk to them, they gone. Like a lot of the, you know, I always call them the safe havens or the Switzerlands of our community, you know, used to be more present. I don't, you know, maybe the barbershop is still one of the few places, but I remember just feeling like we had more common spaces to coexist. Now there's a lot of division, separation, and I love that you guys decided to do it in the way that you did, because podcasts have the ability to reach ears, not just here, but everywhere. And I think when I saw the clip that I saw that led me to you guys in the beginning, you were sitting down, you guys were talking hip hop and culture and things like that, but it was just the concept of a neighborhood talk that caught my eye, right? And I was like, oh, that's I like that. It was different. And but then as I listened to the conversation, I was like, oh, you know, they talking real stuff. So when you had the thought to bring this together, you know, what was it like? How did you know who you was gonna do it with, and where it is today? You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about what you've accomplished so far?
Well, everybody always say you want to meet people where they are. So since there's so many different things going on now, like, you know, growing up, I used to be in the park all the time. You know, I actually went to George Westinghouse downtown Brooklyn, so I stayed in the lunchroom a lot of the time. So, you know, we actually had a lot of that, but with this online stuff, you know, a lot of people ain't outside anymore. A lot of the kids don't do that. So with them not being outside, you like, how do you reach a younger person? You know, seeing, I got 3 sons. So, you know, having 3 sons, you know, and knowing the world that I came up in and seeing the world, how it has changed, like, you know, is scary, you know.
I was going to ask you about that, because I feel like at that, you know, even for me growing up, and I'm a little bit younger than you, but even still, it's a very different world that I'm raising my kids in than what I grew up in. And I thought I had it bad, right? I thought
Yes.
it was bad
Yes.
then. I'm like, dang, what I would give to go back to what I thought. There was so much more principles, morals, respect. There was a lot of things that people wouldn't do. And one of the things that doesn't sit well in my spirit the most, and as I've been having these conversations, people will probably wonder, how do you go from talking about pleasure products at a party or whatever? Sometimes I would go to these parties and it would be co-ed, right? So it wouldn't just be women, because people think it's just a women's thing. And a lot of times you would see the guys, some of them would get up and be like, all right, well, y'all let me know when y'all done with that, with the toys and stuff or whatever. But I had a woman who, my first party I did, that was a couples party. So everybody in the room was partnered. So the guys had to sit through it. And you should have seen their face, and they different ages and stuff, but they was sitting there looking like they didn't know what was going on. One of them just kept eyeing one of the toys on the table. It was like a dildo, just got it. So it was funny to me to see how uncomfortable they were. But as we started to get into it, I always believe in edutaining, right? So I'm going to make sure I'm educating them. I could realize that they were learning things even about themselves that they didn't know. And it let me know something about masculinity, right? And I feel like younger and younger and younger, it's becoming more toxic today, right? What they use to define masculinity, I don't think it's the same as how y'all looked at it. So having sons, right? How do you navigate giving them what you got, what you've learned and experienced it, but also still understanding the world that they're in is a little different from the one you had?
Well, the one thing the first thing because I try to tell them some of my experiences. You know, it was different. We was outside, so there was back and forth, up and down the highway. We were outside, and you know, women actually comes with the territory sometimes.
Right.
When you are out doing things you may not be supposed to be doing, women come with the territory. So with the women coming with the territory, you actually learned and experienced things probably that some of these people, if you was outside, some of the things that you got to experience, some of these people probably wouldn't experience in a lifetime.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So I try to tell them, the one thing I try to overemphasize to them, you know what I'm saying? Like, your energy, because that's an exchange of energy when you're intimate.
When you're intimate with
When
someone.
you're intimate, that's an exchange of energy, and I try to tell them to make sure that they hold their energy sacred. And that's something that, growing up, I wasn't told that. I was
Not
told,
as a man, probably.
Nah, I was told, yo, go ahead, do that, hit that.
It's
You know what I'm
encouraging. I
saying?
feel like it was earlier.
Yeah, it was, like, go ahead, get that.
It makes
hit
you
that.
the man to do it.
Yeah.
For us, we're told it's your delicate flower and don't give it up and don't give it away. But my brothers did not get the talks I got.
And that's the difference. Like, we, understanding the power for men and women. You know what I'm saying? Understanding that power is, I think that we as a community, we weren't taught that, because there was always such a divide put in our communities. You're not going to understand your power. You're not going to understand the leverage that this has. That's why you look now, there's so many divisive things put out there when it comes to sexuality, when it comes to gender, when it comes to, you got women talking about their body count. Like, I come from, if you hit it, I couldn't possibly want it to be mine. Like, I'm looking at it now, and she was with him, she was with him, she was with him, and everybody, this is my old lady. How could she be my old lady? Like, so when it comes to intimacy, men are givers.
Yeah.
Women are takers. Like, at the end of the day, there's no one getting in that inside of you if you don't allow them to.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you have, just like when it comes to mothering and
Right.
fathering, you know what I'm saying? Men are the givers of life. Women are the carriers of life. You know what I'm saying? Like there are things that I think we kind of get away from, you know what I mean? And I think
And you
that,
think we need to spend a block on some of it
I
and bring
think
it
we
back?
need to spin the block like tremendously so we could come to a point where we like, okay, we are one.
You know, I think the middle ground is so hard, right? In today, I'll say that because I feel like my growing up happened during the transition, if that makes sense, right? I feel like I'm on the side of when technology wasn't there, right? And I had to go and use the big Apple thing, and the only time I could get online was in school or for the limited amount of time that I was allowed to take the telephone wire and plug it into the computer and hear the you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But I'm also on a complete other side of it where I'm also in an era where technology has evolved to where it is, and social media and being online and having to navigate this, going from one where I played outside and did double dutch in the park to now this side of it. What I will say, as from a woman perspective, very young, I got those talks and I was told how to carry myself and how to be. And I was always a reflection of my family because my family knew everybody. I'm from one of those families where you couldn't get away with nothing because that's Flo's daughter, that's so-and-so's daughter. That's so, like, come on, I can't even, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't even play with a boy for 2 seconds before somebody spotted me. And now where I haven't talking to so many women and men because they come to me to coach with me or whatever the case is, I'm finding women my age are going back to celibacy or going back to not practicing because a little overstimulated or haven't given. And people would think because I'm a sexologist, that means that I promote certain behaviors. I don't. I'm a big connection person. And I think that I don't police who people do what with, but like you said, energy. Make sure the energy feels right because you never know what you're taking in from a person either, or what kind of crazy they might have on them because you put that thing on them a certain way. And I've definitely had somebody outside my house at 2 something in the morning. You know what I'm saying, King? Do your Kegels, ladies. But definitely had him out there. I was like, Jesus Christ, I wasn't supposed to give him the whole throat, only half of it. But I also, contrary to belief, because online you see my presence, I don't have a problem with my body. I'm very expressive with it. But if you see me walking down the street, I'd be mad conservative. My man jokes that they be lucky if they get an ankle, is what he say. You don't even give them an ankle. You gave them some toes today? Because I'd be low key kind of reserved. The balance is the part. I think appropriation. I grew up, and I can't release this, and I don't know if this is similar for you, but there's certain places that's appropriate for certain things. When I'm in my comfort, I'm in my house, I'm making a video in my bathroom. I'm not outside on a corner of the block in a bra and a thong. But when I'm outside, I'm a representation of my family, of my kids, of my man, or whatever. So I agree with you to that, but I don't know how we find that middle. I feel like so many people have a hard time figuring out how to express themselves, but also not disrespect themselves.
Well, the middle, I think that the only way you get to the middle is continuing to explore all of these different levels. Because once you sit down now and you find that medium, now we are like, okay, we went to the high, we went to the lows. Now we're here. This is where we want to be. But you got to have people willing to listen. And that, there are people that hear you, but you want them to listen. So that's the thing. We're in a, people want to always, they're quick to have something to say. They listen to say something
respond,
back. You know what I'm
instead
saying?
of to understand.
And understand, and that's what we need. We need more listening with understanding. Like, you think about it. We went from, when we was growing up, you had, so now they call it hating. But when we was growing up, you could criticize somebody. You could criticize somebody without it being hating. You know
Oh,
what
you
I'm
were able to
saying?
call a person on something
Yeah,
more
now you're
more
hating on
constructive,
constructive
criticism or free
But
feedback. Now it's so
it's
you got to be a
hating.
hater if you comment on something.
Like, first of all, everybody in your circle, because that's what it is. If they criticizing you, they should be in your circle. That you're taking it in, and you actually
When
warranting
we're
a
to receive, you
response.
hold what they say
Yeah.
as some level of value, so you don't see it as that they looking out.
So if you held me in such regard, if I said something that you may not agree with, it's not hating. It's not hating. I'm sitting down telling you what I see, how I see it.
Yeah.
You know, but there's so many people with this, oh, you a hater, and then we go from hating to, other things. And that's where if we could actually, yeah, let's get to the meat and potatoes at the high point, and if we get to the low point, and we meet in the
Middle
so we
somewhere,
know
but I
where
should
it's
be
at.
able to tell you my honest to God feeling about a way you or something you're doing without you feeling like it's because I'm jealous or hating on what you're doing, as opposed to me saying, I'm noticing what you're doing, and I respect your right to do what you want to do, but consider this.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what consideration is the thing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of inconsiderate people, especially the young dudes. Nobody cares about the next person. It's me, whatever. And if you in my way or you know what I'm saying? Like it's not tolerated. So I could see where you coming from with that.
But that's why we still need the village. You know what I'm saying? I remember so I don't live on this block, but I live on a block very similar. I grew up on a block very similar. I knew everyone. So it's maybe about, I don't know, maybe about 200 houses or households on the block. So I knew everybody in every house. And everybody in every house could say something to me. They could check me. They could let me know if I'm doing something wrong from one avenue to the next. Now, let you say something to somebody's kid. The problem is we got to get back to, it's a difference between beating and abuse. You know what I'm saying? You want to sit down and you want to castrate me for chastising my kid, but then when my kid is out there doing something wrong, you want to sit down and tell me I didn't do my job as a parent.
It's a double-edged sword, that right there. Because we are seeing it. We're seeing more and more, especially with the teachers and stuff, the way like you see videos of these kids fighting their teachers and stuff like that. I really never, that's why I say that's the side I can't relate to, because for me, my teachers were given permission almost from my parents to parent me whenever I was in that school. Like, that's your parent while you're here. Now, don't get me wrong. I also had a mother and a grandfather who was no joke. And if I told them so-and-so came a certain way and they felt like they were overstepping, they were going to come and address that. But I agree with what you're saying. I don't take my kids to the park after a certain hour. Certain things I don't do just because I know I'm putting myself in a situation to be exposed to more chances to have to tell somebody else about their child. And people, I can't even go over and say, hey, your kid is doing X, Y, and Z. You want to fight me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Your
now
kid doing some wild
your kid is over there screaming all kind of words, but you want to fight me because I'm letting you know, right? And I'm like, so it's to avoid it. I just go early. I'll go earlier. I'd rather do that when no one's there. But now my kids can't socialize because it's just them. So it's hard. I find we're there, but you said something that honestly. And I love when things line up because you don't know everything that I was thinking about or talking about with you, but one of the main reasons I wanted to talk with you on this platform was because we have a lot of conversations about pleasure. We have a lot of conversations about intimacy, which I think we all get an introduction to it pretty early on in life, high school sweethearts and stuff like that before that. But what I'm finding more and more as we have in these conversations is everything that men see in these discussions, they respond to in a way like they got to protect their identity. Like they can't be seen as potentially seeming gay, or everything you say that don't sound a certain way, even if that's not how they truly feel, they're going to kind of present it that way because they know that everybody around them would have something to say if they were only one. So a lot of people don't have a thought process of their own. And I was like, okay, what can I really think? Like for men's health, I don't think that men are realizing just how much they're so used to just putting something in something that they don't really know what pleasure actually is. I think they know what it feels to get satisfaction of getting off, but getting off and actually having real intimacy and real pleasure is not the same. So a question I have for you that I kind of really was interested in your perspective, because I know you're also married, you know what I'm saying? You got different periods or experiences of life. Intimacy I define in 4 pillars. I define it as physical as 1 out of 4, but emotional, mental, and spiritual being the other 3. And those are the 3 that I feel like a lot of guys don't know the first, second, or last thing about. You start hearing words like vulnerability come up, or, you know, oh, I can't be a certain way. I don't want her to weaponize my attack. And then the women are going, well, that's sassy, and you this and you that. So I'm finding that it's creating a gap where men don't really know what pleasure is. As a man who's come through different phases, would you say that the younger you knew truly what intimacy was, or what at what point in life do you feel like you arrived at realizing that it ain't what you thought it was?
Well, the younger me, the younger me was all over the place.
He was
the
wild.
younger me was all over the place. I'm gonna keep it a buck. The younger me, you know, as you know, now I'm, I guess middle age, you know. So the younger me, we might be at 2 or 3 different women cribs in that same day. You know what I'm saying? The younger me didn't understand that I could have one complete woman. You know what I'm saying? The younger me would put 2 or 3 women together
to make up
the
complete
what one was lacking. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand at that time. I was the one really lacking in some things. You know, as I've gotten older, you know, and you know, have gotten to experience some things. As I've gotten older, I'm not the same vibrant, youthful person that I was. So as you get older and you find out that you can't jump off the building like you used to.
Not every time. There's gonna be times where you tired. You
You know what I'm saying?
You're like, baby, can we just talk tonight?
You know what I mean? Like, yo.
I know those nights.
Yo,
you
not even that. I'm like, yo, I need you to hold me.
You try to be a little.
You know
spoon?
what I'm saying? Like, hug me. Give me a hug. I need, especially not even so much about, you know, somebody doing something to me. It's about the stresses of this world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up with a circle. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really understand that even though I had a circle, you know, I got very few in my corner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they, you know, yo, I got a circle, you know, I got a crew, they're my dudes.
Right.
But when it come to your corner, like when them chips is down,
It's a different criteria.
who you need bail money. Who you getting bail money from? You need to go over here and pay for some. Who gonna pay for? You got insurance? Who got but you don't understand that when you young, dumb, and full of cum, because you know what I'm saying, you thinking that the world revolves around you. You know?
Young, dumb, and full of cum.
Like, I mean,
That's real.
it's when think about it, men are very visual. We're very visual. So we see something, we like, oh, I gotta have it. I gotta have that. That's the man in you, like, I gotta have it. We're visual.
And y'all are also territorial, so it's a possessive thing where I gotta attain it.
Very, very. You know,
Yeah.
and so it's never, so, I mean, I've never been worryful of another man because me and him are on the same field. You know, you got some men that's more gifted with the gab, some men that might be more endowed than the other.
Right.
But I'm not worried about him. The person that I've always worried about was a woman.
Really?
And the reason why I worried about a woman is because I can't do something a woman could do. I am not her. I can't do the things that you might be wanting and craving from another woman. I can't do those things. So I've never worried about another man. But a woman, that's, we got to draw the line.
We got to draw the line
I
somewhere.
I can't
That's
compete.
so interesting because there's so many men who would have the exact reverse logic on that exact same thing because they feel like, well, she's not no threat because she ain't got what I got. But you just said it. What I find the real fear in a lot of those situations, because it makes a lot of sense, is it's knowing that women, it's not even what she can physically do. It's not even, it's the connection. It's the way that you might be able to,
That's right.
Because if you keep it real, a lot of our friendships, even with our friends as women, it's not to say that we want to have sex with each other. All of us want to have sex with each other. But y'all get like women get a lot of vulnerability from each other.
Yes.
And we know our deepest, darkest, desires and secrets and fantasies. And, I wish a guy would do this to me or do this for me. We talk about that with each other. But I find people don't even tell that to the person that they in bed with. Your friend know more about your fantasies than your man or the person or your intimate partner or whatever knows. But there's an expectation for them to fulfill them. So that's the part that always tripped me up. And I've always been, how does my man call me? He calls me a contrarian is what he says I am. I'm always on the opposite side of something. And I sat with that for a while. I'm like, damn, do I always resist? Like I'm just Operation Resistance? Like, what is going on?
Fight the power.
You feel me? I even incorporated that into my head class. I was telling the girls, hey, it's a nerve right here. I just want you to fold your fists and bend down. If you squeeze, it's going to open your throat up. And you know what I'm saying? I had to really think about this because I was like, why? And I realized when I hear all these arguments, I'm never pro man, I'm never pro woman. I'm pro, like, who makes sense right now? Who's making sense to me? You can't, my grandfather always told me, you can't ever let a person rub shit in your face and tell you it's perfume. Right? So I find that even in comments online, you'll notice that one person put a comment. If you scroll, somebody else wrote the same thing. Or it's like you're rereading the same transcript over and over because nobody's thinking for themselves. And I'm the one that's like, well, anybody think about this? Right? So maybe I am a little bit of that. But more so because I never understood why we weren't having these conversations with the people it mattered with. Why are you not having that conversation? Then I realized men don't always know how to talk to women and women don't always know how to talk to men. It's easier
to talk.
It's easier to tell your girl.
Your homie.
It's easier to tell your homeboy. Yeah, boy, because he could relate. But when it requires you to do work to actually figure out how to talk to your counterpart, that's what's too difficult. That's where and that's why we don't bond that intellectual, that mental connection, that spiritual. You can't feel like soulmates when you won't even let me in. How are we gonna be soulmates? And I'm keeping you out on my exterior. So I was thinking about this because I think when a man, especially if he's been married for a certain amount of time too, you get to a certain point where you learn your woman's language, right? Yeah. But I find that sometimes y'all are still, like, I've never really seen in today's era. I used to hear my grandfather do it with my uncles and things like that. But like now I don't hear it happen. Who's telling the 20-somethings, right, how to even deal with a woman, talk to a woman? Because older guys used to school them. Like, let me tell you something. You talk to a woman, I don't see none of that happening.
Well, I think you don't see none of that happening because I think that there's such a disconnect with being on the internet and everything. There is a disconnect. You only get the people that's in your immediate family now. Like we said, there's no more interaction, like being on the stool, being in the park, being in the barber shop. People got appointments. So when you got an appointment, that means you come in
out, gotta go.
Out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you go to the bar, you ain't talking to a young cat because he's not able to be in there yet. You know what I mean? They're like, we barely see people playing basketball anymore. Like, where's the double dutch? Where's the skelly?
I don't know the last time I've seen ropes.
I don't know. And those are the type of things that when we looking at where we can actually talk to someone, it's not there. Like yesterday, made 17 years. I've been married.
Ooh, first of all, happy anniversary.
Thank you, thank you,
Happy
thank you,
anniversary to
thank you,
both of you
thank you,
guys.
thank you, thank you.
That's dope.
And it's crazy because I be like, yo, the one thing that I try to tell anyone when it comes to not even marriage, just dealing with in a relationship. Okay, men have been put as the head of a relationship. They could be the head, but a woman is the neck. You cannot do anything with a head if you
If you
can't move your neck.
Move your neck.
The neck is what controls the head. So if that lady is in touch with her womanism
No, for
and
real.
she knows
feminine.
how to work that man, she can get that man to do whatever she needs him to do because she is the neck that turns the head.
You almost. Let me just tell you. A lot of times I say things that sometimes the women might feel like I'm switching teams on them. So I always have to let them know, like, this is again not pro one side or the other.
Yeah.
I personally know, if I even just think about my immediate friendship circles, that 90% of them don't know how to leverage their femininity. And this came up in a conversation I had on another podcast, one sort of friend, and it's even circulating now, where she was basically saying how she would say something to a guy and then he wouldn't respond, and I would say it to him for her, or I'll be like, "Oh, say it like this," or type it, or text him for her, and then suddenly she's getting the reaction she wants. And for a long time, I didn't think anything of it. We made it a joke. What would Kash do, or whatever, whatever. And so usually when I see something like that happen enough, it makes me sit back, and the nerd in me goes, "But why is it that way?" And then that's when my deep dive happens. So I was doing that. And something that I always talk about, and I've even written, I've used the concept because it was developed by a psychologist, but I've used it in a book, and I talked about it with you guys about the communication breakdown. And when I say it, I feel like it goes through people's, like, going one ear and out the other. What women don't realize is that, you just said it a second ago, men are visual first and foremost. The biggest part of communication is body language. What they looking at, right? So your posture in its own could convey softness, right?
Yes, yes.
I can sit here and I could be sitting here looking at you, and I could be talking to you like, "Oh, so tell me what's up with these,"
That's like, oh, yeah, all right.
right? So, but what if I'm sitting here, I'm sitting up, right? My shoulders are high, my head is high, and I'm sitting, I'm relaxed, I'm calm, and I'm like, "Tell me about this, just this." My angel, put some shoulder in it. Here we just, you was putting that shoulder in it, and I'd be like, "Babe," right? But the body language. So I ain't got to say nothing to you. We could be at a party. I could be like, and he know what I'm saying. A lot of women lose that, and that's a part of intimacy, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to seduce without even saying a word. But then tone. Oh, that's the one. That's the one right there.
Tone, yeah. Tone get a little.
I
Tone
call
could
it,
get
you know
a
what I
little,
call tone? I call it tone A, because they only got a little tone A, right?
yeah.
You bring in tone A. That be the one right there that'll have a man put up Fort Knox. That be the one right there. And I think that's the biggest one that we got to issue with now, because it's not even just what you say, it's how it's being said. And I was like, again, like you said, you know how sometimes you feel like you can't give the criticism because somebody gonna be like, but I'm noticing, like, "Sis, why you so," a woman said to me, "You must have never survived nothing," because I said I would say it to him like this, and it was so soft that she thought, "You must have never been through nothing." And I was just like,
but that's the thing. We if we could get on the same team, this ain't me against you. It ain't you against me. Like, if we're deciding, and that's the one thing that I think when it comes to the younger generation, that's why I'm like, you want to protect your energy and not give your energy out, because I think I gave my energy out so wrongly as growing up, that, you know what I'm saying, I didn't understand what it took to actually make myself or somebody to make me happy. because I was trying to find happiness in so many different places. But then not only that, you lived in, because it's sometimes you got to look at the, what I'm saying, what happened.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And there's so many things that happen growing up that forced you to kind of be that person. Like, you know, um, I have family members that have dabbled in the illegal business for years. So as I grew up, I'm looking at my cousins, and I got a bunch of male cousins. My grandmother had 10 kids. You
Oh,
know what I'm
so
saying?
then they had
So
kids.
yeah, then they
Right.
had kids, and if I'm not mistaken, 7 out of the 10 kids was boys. So I got a large boy family. We finally started getting some girls in the
Now,
later
later
part of
now. Okay.
But most of my cousins are boys. So to see all of my cousins at my grandmother's house, everybody got 2, 3 women coming through all the time. Now, in my head, I'm thinking this is what I must do because this is what I'm seeing,
Right.
and this is what's being projected on me. So, the one thing that I wanted to do, and I wanted to create a different visual for my kids to see. You know what I'm saying? I wanted that for them because I was like, yo, they didn't ask to be here. I decided to do this. You know what I'm saying? I want to be accountable for what I've done. You know what I'm saying? And however it goes, you know what I'm saying? Let me fall on a knife, long as they
Right.
don't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I want them to have fruitful lives. I want them to have, where they understand what it means to be intimate, what it means to be faithful, what it means to be, if,
And love, shoot.
yeah, yeah,
Some of y'all don't even know what that feel like.
yeah. Because
Right.
love is scarce.
It is.
Love is scarce. And it's a difference between, you being in love and you having love.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You could love someone. You could love plenty of people. But that don't mean that's the one you in love with. Cause I listen, I need somebody to hold me. I need somebody to say, baby, it's all right. You're all right. I got you.
People don't realize that the words in its own tell you exactly what it's supposed to be. Like if I say I love you, that's my expression of an emotion going towards you. If I say I'm in love with you, the operable word is with. The operable word is with, meaning with you together. We're in love, right? And I know that doesn't sound crazy because sometimes people are saying that to someone before the other person's even expressed it back. But 9 times out of 10, when you say it, it's because you think it's a good chance that that person might feel the same, right? Doesn't always go that way, but the goal in making that statement is to say, I want to do it with you.
Yes. Yes.
Side by side, with being the word that means couple together, not me loving you or you loving me, us loving each other. And I don't think people catch that word. With might sound like a sight word you learned when you was 5, but it's a strong word when you're talking about this particular topic. And so when I get to the point where I'm saying I'm in love with this man, meaning I'm in love with everything I like about him. I'm in love with everything I can't stand about him. I'm in love with the way he eat his food. I'm in love with the fact that, he knows how to hug me or hold me to right. I'm in love with his body temperature at night. I'm in love with him in all facets of the word, but I can't be in love with all of him if I haven't learned how his mind works, if I haven't seen what he's like when his spirits is down and when they're up, right? If I haven't understood how his body reacts when I touch him there versus here, and if I haven't had the opportunity to let him be vulnerable with me, right? And see what he's like when he's not whole or together. And when you make a decision that you can love that version of a person, then you in love. I believe, right? And I really wanted to talk about this because if anything, even I can say as a woman to the guys who hear these conversations or whatever the case is, a lot of times it's not that women hate you, because a lot of women say men ain't this, men ain't shit, men ain't, whatever. they're in hate with their experiences that they've had with men, but they haven't gotten to a place of emotional maturity or intelligence to realize, I don't hate every man. I hate my experience with that man. I hate my experience with this, whether it was the daddy who touched them or the uncle, everybody got the creepy uncle, whether, what I'm saying? It's more so her experiences have shaped her to have this perspective of feelings. So now she's vocalizing it and doesn't even realize what she's saying.
That's the how that I was saying, like seeing my cousins. You know what I'm saying? Like those things have shaped you. Like she has been shaped. But that's why I think that every black and brown person in this country, this great country of America, do therapy. I think every black and brown person here in America is due therapy due to the things that have been put before us. You know what I'm saying? I think that there have been so many obstacles and challenges that have been put before us that we need that so that we, you know what I'm saying? And this is not as a couple. This is as a person to person, that we can deal with some of the trauma causing things that aren't allowing us to sit down and now be a better person with maybe someone else. But I need
It's
to
so
be
crazy.
a better version
You're
of
right.
myself.
And I always say this because I'm honest in wherever I'm at in my life and my process, and I've been spending a lot of time even revisiting my own mental health, and not because I'm crazy or whatever, but because there were things that I experienced that I knew how I felt when I experienced them, but now I have the mental to know why I felt it. And so my emotional memory sometimes would come back and make me feel it again and relive it again. But now it's different because I know more than I did then. And now I'm realizing like, damn, girl, that really fucked you up. Right? Like back then it was survival. So sometimes we put ourselves in a mode. I always give the reference of a storage unit, right? Storage facility. We compartmentalize. We put things, some things go in the big units, some things in the small. Some of the things get taken out. Some of the things stay there 20 years. But they have a way eventually of showing up. You know what I'm saying? And what I learned my problem was that I was a pro at compartmentalization, but I wasn't going back in and taking nothing else out. And then a couple of them got together and was like, yo, we gonna hit her at once. And I was like, oh, you gotta deal with this. Like, I couldn't operate, couldn't get up, I couldn't motivate, I couldn't nothing because, so I think you're right, because the healing is in that, do what you gotta do to survive in that moment. But then we go to the next moment and we forget to deal with that. That conditions us. So I'm 1,000%, but I'll tell you something. I want to say it was back February. One of the consultants for our company, she had an expo out in it's two of them actually, Kiki and Nisha, give them a shout out. They had put together this event called the Melanated Sex Expo. And so I was brought there to do a keynote. And I wrote a keynote, prepared it, and then the night before redid the whole thing, right? And it was because I was in the room and I was listening to what other people were talking about and hearing, and I realized I have to say something different to this group of people. And I want to know what you think about it, because something you said about healing made me think of it just now. And ironically, things just flow. So I said to them, I did therapy for years. I don't think that I healed until I had the community healing, right? The one-on-one, the talk therapy wasn't doing nothing for me. I'm a woman who has a lot of awareness, and I've always had that. So I don't need to sit down on the couch with somebody to tell me what I already know about myself. I wasn't afforded the ability to fall apart because I didn't have the right army around me to make sure that I was going to get put back together. So for a long time, single black woman raising her child, got to do it all by myself. I'm a text. Tyler Perry could write 10 storylines on my life, right? And then I got this man, and somehow I'm like, why are we so emotional? Why are we so... I didn't know what safety felt like. I finally felt safe enough to fall apart.
Well, I'm going to say this. When it comes to therapy, the one-on-one, that's only one step in it. So you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you may need to have that one-on-one to make you conscious of
Whatever the things
whatever
are.
it is
Yeah.
that's bothering you. Then two, you may need your community to embrace you.
To say it's okay.
To say
to
it's
hold,
o-
like you said, hold me. Like
What?
hold me.
What? But you gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start. You have
and
to
that's
start.
the thing. Like I think we don't know where to start, and that's trying to get to that middle ground. We got to learn somewhere to start. That's why I'm like, if we start high, we
I think
start
you just
low.
said it though. The answer is I don't know. We keep trying to find a perfect time when we've never had a perfect time for
Never.
nothing that we've done.
Never.
It's
Never.
never gonna be
Never.
a perfect. It's insane. It took for me to go and say, I don't know how to get out of this, but I know what I'm in. And sometimes me putting that out there, now guess what? Like you said, this person could have an experience that they could relate to, something I said they could say, well, I went through that and this worked for me. Oh, you know what? Maybe try this. I can't get that until I say, I don't know.
Yeah.
But somehow ignorance is something that's perceived, right, as a negative. Like we're supposed to know it all. And because people are so busy keeping up appearances, pretending like they know what they don't, they never getting what they need. You know what I'm saying? And I think that happens in relationships and all the time. We so busy pretending everything look good for social media, pose up, beach trips, all of the stuff that we doing. Behind closed doors, we fighting. Behind closed doors, we can't have a conversation without one of us getting to this volume. Behind closed doors, we can't this, but it looked good. Yeah. Outfits was matching. So I think what you said, we don't know. Let's start there. Let's start with I don't know. And you said another word, exploration. You got to explore. I love the unknown. You know what I'm saying?
When you doing it together too, exploring together.
It's funny as hell too.
You don't know. I don't know. Let's
we just be stupid together.
Where this shit gonna take us? Like, let's do it. Fuck it.
Like most things, and let's. I'm telling you, that's where the real intimacy is. That's where the real bonding happens because you be laughing at all the stupid. Remember, we ain't even know how to do this. Like it becomes a point of reference of, damn, look where we came from. And I think because people are not willing to say, I feel this way about it because I don't understand it, as opposed to the latter, like you said, somebody else said, oh, nah, I wouldn't do that. You can't put that on me. And so now you saying it instead of exploring it and determining it for yourself. So I had thought about these questions I wanted to ask you. So I always like to play a little fun something.
Okay.
The game is Would You Let a Woman? The game is Would You Let a Woman?
Would I let a woman?
It's real
Okay.
simple, right?
Okay.
It's not long, it's not whatever. It's a few questions, right? I just want to explore intimacy words to see if you feel like that threatens my manhood or not.
Okay.
Would you let a woman tie you up?
Now, when you say a woman,
Your woman.
Oh yeah. My woman.
Yeah, she can tie you up.
Yeah. Because you know what I'm saying. I'm not letting anybody. I don't let everybody touch me anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I always like you got these questions, right? I asked my lady a long time ago. I was like, yo, I said, if hypothetical, if we was carrying a couch, but I had twisted my knee, twisted my ankle, what side of the couch would you carry?
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? And she looked at me. She was like, I would carry the back end of the couch.
The bottom end, because that's where the weight is going to come down.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh, nah, you come on, let's roll.
That's an interesting question.
Because at the end of the day, you want to, like, if shit hits the fan, how you rolling? Are you rolling with me? Like, when the chips is down, are you there?
No, because a lot of times that be the only time some women, will play the position of softness. Now we as soft as could be. We can't lift no couch.
Like, yeah.
Oh, now what happened to her? What happened to shut the
come
L
on,
up?
come on, you know what I'm
Pick up
saying?
the
Like,
other end of the couch.
you know,
That's dope.
give me that tone. Give me that tone.
Right, the same
put
one.
your back in it.
Put your back in it. Pick up this couch. Use your knees. Right. That's so because that's when I noticed it. Suddenly that's not for me. And I laughed because when you said the couch, it immediately struck me because I used to joke all the time. I throw couches on my back. That was my single mom claim to fame. Now, this is too heavy. I swear to God. But you know, there's science behind that too. That when you find your right mate or your person, y'all really deeply intertwined, they make you release chemicals, and one of the chemicals is serotonin, which actually softens you, makes you like, that after y'all finally, y'all just lay back and y'all like, can't get up, can't do nothing. You like, shit, pass me it's too far for you too.
Yeah.
Both of y'all, right? Plug it,
Fuck it.
You don't need it, right?
Yeah.
But that hormone though just happen with sex.
Wow.
That happens when you're with a person who naturally just makes you feel that calm, that sense of safety. That I'm just like, I went to go lift up something. I'm like, bitch, you used to throw couches on your back, babe.
Look, so today. Of course, we tape on Sundays, right?
Right.
So I was leaving the tape. I was like, yo, I got to go. So I was like, yo, I'll see you later. You know what I'm saying? Kiss my wife before I leave, just in case, that might be the last kiss I ever give her. So, you know what I'm saying? I kiss her before I leave. But when I get downstairs, I got to put a few garbage. I take the garbage out with me. But there's groceries downstairs.
Like a delivery.
Yeah, like a delivery of groceries. My man Trump said he don't know what groceries are no more. That's an old word. But we got groceries delivered. So, you know what I'm saying? I can't leave without bringing the groceries in
Back
for her.
up.
Like, I'm like, yo, come to the door. She like, all right. I'm like, I got to bring the groceries up, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could put the groceries away, but I got to bring the groceries. I ain't going to sit down and be like, yo, get the groceries. Like, I don't know. Some dudes might do it.
Some would.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, nah, I got to get the...
Y'all can't see.
Yo.
Not you raised your hand. He's BSing. Let me tell you that.
I don't need that.
I know
he talking
I jumped out
fly.
my car, had one bag in my hand. I was to pick it up from the floor. His hand was right there. When my head went up, he was standing there like this. He talking about
real fly.
Come on.
You know that he. You want him to get on this couch with me? We can
Listen,
sit down and get it
get
in
him
right
now.
now. You know what I'm saying? We
I'm
can.
with it.
You know what I'm saying? I'm an old. Get your ass over here. Let's chop it up, baby. I'm sorry.
Nah, that's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's go with the question.
But that's your thought process. I love that. Let me ask you this though. What did it take for you to be willing to let us tie you up? That's one question I do have though.
So
where's the trust?
What took it? So my wife, my oldest son is not my wife's. You know what I'm saying? But no one in this world could tell her that's not
her son.
You know what I'm saying? Like nobody in the world. And I'm like, yo, you taking me with all mine. Because that's all I got in this world.
That's your
all I
legacy.
got. Everything else, that shit come and go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but your child, that's your future.
All I got in this world. Like at the end of the day, I get to see them live again through. I get to live again through them. I got 3 soldiers. I'm like, what?
It's crazy when you
know
see
what I'm
it,
saying?
right? And you see parts of you show
and
up.
I'm like, yo, I'll smack this shit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm
she
like, yo,
she took all of that.
Yeah, she like, come on. And the crazy thing about it was, you know what I'm saying? Not saying it like that, but again, I told you I was out there. So, you know what I'm saying? I was with my wife, but we wasn't husband and wife at the time. But, I was with my wife. I was still in the streets. I was still doing me.
Different
so,
thing,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? It was like when it was time for him to come, you know what I'm saying? Again, he ain't asked to be here. I'm like, yo, I gotta change some of this shit I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So when she sat down and accepted me with all that I came with, I was like, man,
you gotta unleash.
At the end of the day, like, come on, man, let's go. Like, I'm talking about, to the ends of the earth, I
Right.
told her if I die before you, which I want to do, said all I want to do is haunt your ass, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I said, because you think you giving that to somebody else, all of this? And I ain't even talk about the goods. I'm talking about all of this.
All the rest of that come
I
with
said,
it.
nah. I said, that's why I got the soldiers here too. So they could make sure
that they gonna live it on after you. That's
because
great.
I'm gonna haunt your ass. It's what? Listen.
Now I don't want to leave first so I can come back and haunt
listen,
you.
I don't, because I'm saying, I don't think, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to say it like, trying to put a time limit on me or nothing like that. But I don't think I could do it without her. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to do it without her. So I'm like, yo, I gotta go first. Cause if this shit right here, like I got an old head on my block. I love him to death. His wife left him maybe like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. He's still holding on.
Never
I'm
been
like,
the
nah, I
same.
can't do it. I had another old head that lived next door to me. His wife left. He drunk himself to death because he said, I can't do it.
That's insane.
I can't.
So you think though that those men knew that before she left? Do you feel like there's a thing where sometimes they have to learn from the loss, and sometimes certain lessons are you can't afford to pay the price of?
I know that lesson. That lesson would be too much for me to bear. You know what I'm saying? I saw my grandfather go through it. You know what I'm saying? My grandfather ended up living till he was 99. You know what I'm saying? And my grandmother, if I'm not mistaken, my grandmother left him she left him for like 40 years. I'm like, nah, I couldn't do it. You got to go 50 more joints? And then he was like, yo, I'm trying to make it to 100. I was like, yo, whatever you do, baby, I'm with it. But I know me, I'm like, nah.
It's it's no joke. It's a different love, and people don't realize it doesn't get filled by other people, and it's not your kids don't feel it, your friends don't feel it, your mom. It's a different kind of love you have with that person. So they say people heartache can kill. So I do okay. Two more, okay. Right? Would you allow her to continue if she began kissing behind your knees, right? And started working her way down your leg toward your feet.
Toward my feet? Mm-hmm. Why not?
Okay, all right. See, these kind of people I like. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of guys who feel like that might happen.
It suck your toes? Man, I put my toe on my wife's ear. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Now you ain't gotta apologize. It's a comfort thing. There's a lot of people. Some guys don't take their socks off. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, if she old lady, you better be
taking your socks off. If he ain't, then that's a flag in its own.
Well,
okay.
If he ain't taking his socks off, he ain't gonna be there too long. So you know what I'm saying?
That's free game.
You know what I mean?
That's
Listen,
free game.
Between that, I had women tell me, yeah, I used to mess with bro. You ain't mess with me. We might have had relations, but you ain't never messed with me. I want you to get too many of them to sit down and say I made breakfast for them, because I only made breakfast for a handful of women.
There's certain things that you only do for that woman. Yeah. That makes sense. I feel like the next one, based on your last answer, I already know what it's going to be, because it was going to say, would you allow her to have the night where she's fully in control? You don't get the ability to ask no questions. You just got to go with it. That's a grown man. That's a grown man.
Let's go.
You'd be surprised. I tested a few of these questions on a few younger boys, and they were resistant to all of them.
Well, that again, young, dumb, and full of cum. So, I was that person also. You know what I'm saying? And they say, I shouldn't think the same way at 30 that I thought at 16. You know what I'm saying? So if I sat down and thought that at 16, and you asked it to me at 30, when I done lived another lifetime,
right? You
know what I'm saying, and dealt with a lot of different experiences, there's no way that I should still be thinking the same way I thought at 16.
It makes total sense. I knew, I kind of had a feeling that would be the way you went about it. And I had one other thing I wanted to talk about with you, but I didn't want to forget to get to the part where we talk with the grooming stuff and all of that. But prior to starting, we actually had a pre-convo, and I was I got to know how you felt about it. So I'm gonna just give you out of it. But I was gonna talk to you. I had a game I was gonna play with the other guys. It was here called Pause or No Pause. And I was just gonna put a sentence out there and tell me, do they think this is a sentence that people would scream pause to or not? Or whatever the case. Because I was really, I've been exploring it. I've literally listened to professional men and like regular business conversations stop a sentence to say it. And I was just like, this has to be explored a little bit. But, and I was getting a little testy with it, but it made me want to do research and figure out like, where did this really come from? And what I found out is that the pause / no homo was previously, it's not, people don't say no homo because it's deemed to be very offensive. And some people in the community feel that pause is offensive, right? But it's controversial. But it found out that it peaked in the 2000s, early 2000s, and that the biggest pioneers of the era was Dipset and Cam and them. Well, right. So, from Harlem. So I was like, that makes sense. Cause I remember when that kind of started kicking off and they were saying that it was basically said to become something to dodge anything that potentially sounded, gay or could be a sound bite that could be taken out of context to make a person appear as though it was there. But now I just feel like it's said more frequently, even than back then. I feel like it was certain things that wasn't getting a pause then that is now. But I found it very interesting. And I just wanted to ask you, because you shared with me your perspective on it, but if you could talk about that really quick before I show you the items that I want to show you and get your feel for them. What do you think about the pause culture?
The pause culture. First of all, I'm of a certain age. So I don't think I have to defend, nor am I going to let anything define who I am. So I don't have to say pause. If you know me and you know what I'm about, I ain't got to say pause. I ain't got nobody out here that I need to be sitting down trying to get them to understand nor know me. I know me. You know what I'm saying? So if I got to say pause, keep that shit over there. I'm not pause now. Pause, you could keep all that.
It don't. I personally, I'm trying to figure out, and I'll update you as I continue my research on the pause culture, because it also feels like women heavily contributed to why it started to become more extreme.
Oh yeah.
A lot of things that men, they do it because they don't want to appear that way to their God. No, sometimes it's also wanting it to be clear for the women or whatever the case is. So a lot of the things that men do that women were starting to call not suspect. Manly, suspect, is sus, is sassy, is whatever. So now a man could do the most basic thing and they'll be like, oh, that's a little sassy. So now it's this, from what I'm looking at, it looks like it started to pick up more when women started to call out things that they didn't see as masculine. Now men have to eagerly protect masculinity a little bit more.
Well, that's when you need to sit down and say, yo, this shorty is somebody I don't need around me. You know what I'm saying? Because if she's questioning you as a man and what you bring to the table, homie, she not the one.
She ain't gonna respect you either.
You know what I'm saying? She's definitely not gonna respect you. And that's all it is about, respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing else but respect.
You think men choose respect over love?
I definitely believe that men choose respect over love.
That's interesting.
So I think men choose respect over love because, you know what I'm saying, women, I mean, back then, I don't know about now, but women are in fact, and they are in love with the fact of being in love. Like, women have been groomed all their lives to be like, I'm going to be a wife, I'm going to have a husband, I'm going to have children. Men don't do that. We actually are the ones who fall in love. Because a woman could sit down now and, you know what I'm saying, okay, you could be in love with your man, right? But if that man, say he ain't doing what
he's supposed to do,
he's supposed to do, you know what I'm saying, you can fall out of love.
It's conditional, you think, in that regards.
With men, yo, I didn't want a wife. I didn't. This thought wasn't the one that was perceived and put into my head since I was a little kid. I love you. Like, I remember my wife used to say, I love you more than you love me. I said, how could you even say such a crazy thing?
I will say I can understand it though. My grandfather always told me that I was gonna have to find a man who loved me more, right? And he said that because it's my nature, right? So I naturally give the love, and so he's gonna have to reciprocate it 2 times to match what I'm coming. Like, that's when before I'm in love with you, I'm already taking care of you, right? And I would say that's no different. When I met my man, a lot of women would think I was crazy for this. I'm gonna tell y'all this. Sis, right? I'm telling y'all, when I met my man very early on, he was just coming he had a procedure on one of his knees.
Okay.
So he was out of work for a couple weeks.
Okay.
And when you're out of work, you might get paid, but you're not getting when you're at work the same pay.
Yeah.
So I met him at that point, and he still hadn't gone back. He was about to return to work in maybe a matter of a week or so. But anyway, he was heading to somewhere. Car broke down. It's slightly snowing on the highway in Jersey on the way to Philadelphia, to PA, actually. Yeah. So I was on the phone with him, and it's snowing, and the engine is dead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, stressing, I got to deal with this, I got to do that, da-da-da. And I knew he didn't ask me, but because I had already known the circumstance, or whatever the case is.
Don't tell me you was on your way.
What I did, he had already called, he had AAA.
Yeah.
So he had already called him to pick up the car. I booked a hotel room, and I told him, just go sleep for the night, deal with it in the morning. It was late night. It was probably like 11, 12. What can we do now? What are you going to get done with the car now? And you're in another state. Don't make sense. It would have been more work for sourcing, getting, all that other stuff. I was like, just go there and go to the spot in the morning, take your stuff with the car.
But see, that shows him the type of person that you are.
Right.
So now I know I got a rider in my corner. This is like situations show you who this person is. Mm-hmm. Like, ain't nowhere in the world I'm letting her go. We barely know each other. We just start rocking. I got a knee surgery, so I know I done had a knee replacement, so I know how the knees go. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I done had 9-10 knee surgeries, so I already know what pain that he was in, and to deal with that, and then the car die, like,
I knew that there was going to be bills that came with it. And I guess for me, I always rationalize if helping him is not really going to affect or hinder me. I'm not taking my rent money and but I felt like you already was dealing with this. So by the time you came back, it's like, I already booked the room. Here's the place. I already looked it up from where you at. It's only half a mile down the road. You took an Uber over there, sleep, they give you free breakfast in the morning. Like, to me, I wasn't physically there. I was 2.5 hours away.
Oh, you was there.
But I felt it kicked in.
You was there. Because he was like, yo, he probably got to that room and was like, God damn.
Well, he told me, he admitted it later.
Of course.
He would have never told me then. But he admitted it later. But again, in my head, that felt like just what I wanted to do. I cared about the man. I didn't want him outside in the snow or whatever, get sick or whatever. That's where my head went. So my nature is there, but also I liked him. So that mattered too, because I don't like him. But a lot of women call me stupid for that. I ain't spending this. I ain't doing that for no man. He should have been able to.
Now, and how many of those women got a man?
So the product.
Oh, my bad.
The product,
because listen, we all need to know what it takes. Like, I need to know what it takes to keep my woman,
matters.
and the woman need to know what it takes to keep a man. Some of these women, some of these men, they don't know what it takes. It's constant work.
It's an exchange too. That's the thing. It'd be one thing if it's just one person always looking out. Yeah. No, I rationalized it to make sense because a week before, he had only known me through 3 weeks on my birthday. He was there with me. He celebrated. He protected me. I was getting ready to go pick up the world. He was like, here's what I had in mind for your birthday. If you could tell me what to do, tell me what to do. That's how I was. I felt Jill Scott immediately come to me. He loves me. Hold on, Kash. It's too early. Don't say it yet. He might not know it, But he told me, he was like, I was thinking I would pick you up and I'd drive you around on your birthday because I don't think you should have to be responsible for taking people and dropping them off on your birthday. He literally thought it out and said, you're going to limit your fun. You're not going to drink like you probably would because now you got to be the designated driver and da-da-da. And then he stepped back and said, but that was just my thought. I was like, I like that suggestive dominance.
That's when you gotta sit down and say, yo, fuck the circle. I got to make sure my corner got
I don't know how y'all gonna get there, but
you know what I'm saying?
My boo picking me up.
That's right.
So
I holler.
To me, it was the fact that he was thinking about caring for me was what made me not feel like it was anything wrong with it. But I did have a couple of my friends who I talked about it with, and they was like, you bugging, right? And I won't. I think not answering your question answers your question.
Because they bugging now.
Because they bugging now. All right, but I'm not going to. They still calling me and telling me about those same problems. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. We're great. We go through shit, but we good. So, but this month is Father's Day, and we're gonna drop these episodes in a time, and I don't believe just Father's Day is the time to do it. I believe that a lot of men learn a lot about how to care for themselves from women in their lives, right? I'm not talking about the, dad telling you put your cologne. I'm talking about real self-care. I don't find a lot of the men that I've been exposed to throughout life really know what that means beyond getting a haircut or certain things. Meanwhile, I got a whole 10-step process for my skin and, whatever. So I think it's our part to introduce it. And so whenever I would do events and parties, and a lot of our consultants, this is one thing that the consultants for the company, because we have people who, they sell the products, but they establish their own businesses and they go and they do it state to state. We become that introduction sometimes to the women at the parties and telling them, while you buying this and this and that for you, throw this in the bag for him, right? And so the reason why we do that is because, one, we want to teach you that process of consideration, and that if he feels good and he looks good, he's going to show up differently a certain way. But it's our little way of doing the work, if that makes sense. So I always show them the female body butters, and then I come around, and sometimes I wouldn't tell them what this is, right? And we were just talking about this. This is my favorite one, and Tahoe, and I show it to a lot of people, but I use this because it's the easiest one to help you feel the fragrance. This set is called Eros, and it's named after, Eros. It was the god of the perceived to be the child of Aphrodite and Cupid, or whatever the case is, right? In Greek, whatever. So Eros is all about that. But the line is a care line. You got your wash, your shave cream, your body spray, your moisturizers and beard oils, all kind of stuff, but it's pheromone enhanced. So on one end, pheromones have a way of just helping us feel good, but when you're next to your special someone, it tends to draw them in. And so that's what the whole,
let me smell that. I want to smell that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I just told you it was my anniversary yesterday.
So take a little bit on your hand.
Let me smell that.
I want you to, and then try to see how you feel about it. And just naturally your thought of the smell or whatever as a man, does it feel like something you would...
It does. It definitely smells great.
It
definitely smells great. It definitely smells great.
It's got it. Yeah.
Because I'm going home tonight. You got some pheromone. We going.
Go give her a tight hug and make a
hold her in
it for a little while.
Yeah, hold it so she can be like this. Oh yeah, get it in your.
And all I'm gonna say is, sis, if you see this episode, thank me later. Because something about I noticed, and it's funny because what you did, most guys do. Y'all start feeling yourself. It's like a little,
Yeah. And again, I think it's
look at the hand.
Yeah,
though.
I'm shining too, baby. I'm shining too, baby. Because they be on me. They be on me talking about yo, you're ashy. You're ashy.
Not today, friend.
Not now. Anyway.
All right, we're gonna make sure that jar end up in your stuff.
This joint smells good.
It changes on every man.
Oh yeah.
So that's the base scent. And then it takes some notes that kind of some guys, you know, naturally your body chemistry, it makes it your own smell. So no other person smells like you. So look.
It smell good, brother.
It's an attractant, see?
Yeah, it smell good.
So I'll tell you this. The reason I've talked about it from the attractant side, but here's one thing I always tell men. You get up every morning, you want to start your day feeling vital. You want to feel your vitality, especially because we're not aging backwards, right? So it's important to always still feel that vigor. And some mornings you get up and you're dragging yourself out because you're doing what you got to do. And a lot of men on a day-to-day are doing what they have to do, not necessarily what they would do if they had a choice. I find, because I use the female ones with pheromones, and this is what made me think about this for guys, when I'm having that morning where I'm just like, I notice this when I put it on, I start smelling it, I start feeling, you know, like it does something to me. It's like a boost to your whatever. And I never forget, even one time I sprayed it on myself, but I was in a small room. I started pheromoning myself. I'm like, damn, I feel so nice. So I started realizing when men put it on, y'all have a similar, it perks you up. Your energy jumps out of nowhere. So I'm going to make sure you got that jar. But the whole collection, you know, the wash, all of that type of stuff. And all our products are vegan and organic, hypoallergenic. We don't use ingredients. Some of our products that are not 100% vegan are still organic. But we consider them vegan if they're only made of the, you know, plant-based natural product stuff too.
I got a question. Do you got some hair stuff?
That actually goes from it's called head to toe. So this one right here literally can be used from your head to your feet, even in your beard. And then I'll follow it up with pragmatism. This is the beard oil. So if I put a little in your hand, is that okay?
Yeah.
So you can see, and you could rub that into there. Smell that as well.
Cause you know, yeah. I'm going home. I'm getting lucky tonight. Y'all crazy. I'm getting lucky tonight.
He said, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, I'm getting lucky tonight.
I'm telling you.
This one right here though.
It stills you.
Yeah, this
so
right here.
A lot of the guys, once I put them on, they fall in love with it, and the spray, all the stuff is meant to be put directly on your skin. So you wash, you hit it with the moisturizer, the spray, you go out, and it doesn't have that elevator cologne feel, because a lot of guys, the smell is so strong that you start getting a headache. And so in about a couple minutes, smell it again and see where it balances for you. It lightens up and it balances.
This one is, I keep smelling this. This one smells good right here. This
that Eros fragrance is no joke. So the whole collection is in that fragrance.
Oh.
So the wash, the spray, everything. So now that I know you like the scent, now I know I could gift it to you and you're going to appreciate it. Okay.
This one is nice.
So you got to get that to you. And then another thing, I'm just, making sure the guys know, we do have this anti-chafe cream that's like slept on. This one doesn't have any fragrance added because it's meant to be, for the under the walls and in the area, especially if you're working out where you sweat a lot, to prevent that rubbing and that chafing and that heat generation factory. So it's summertime, especially out here. So this is the anti-chafe cream. So I'm gonna make sure
now the chafe cream, you put that directly on you?
Yeah, it's a lotion. It's like comes out like a lotion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you rub it in, and what it does is it has ingredients in it that helps to absorb the sweat, absorb the heat. And down there, y'all just naturally, you're literally, your testicles are hot, y'all. You got hot balls. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna help you not be Cheetos. A little, what they used to call it, boiled cheese or something. Anyway, but
now hold on. Pause.
See?
I just thought that was the perfect time for that bull. I mean, that
saying anything, right?
Yeah.
And I'll make sure you get the pocket one too. It's the same.
Oh, it's the same.
But this is the one that you could keep with you on the go.
Because I'm going to Italy. This would be good.
Yeah. It's travel size, and you ain't got to worry about it. It's less than an ounce. So a lot of times that's just a quick. You wash your hands, you put it on. I used to put the pheromone products in my soap dispensers. Right in my house. And one time my uncle washed his hand. He was like, "Yo, what kind of soap is that?" He was on the train, just kept.
Yeah.
He was like, yo. And I'm like, so that's how my uncles ended up becoming customers of this side of the business. But and then, of course, something for pleasure. So because I know you got a special someone in your life and y'all just had an anniversary, I feel a little bit obliged to make sure I get something in there that does something for her. So I have a question. Are you someone who's ever used a ring?
A ring?
A cock ring.
I never used a ring, but I've used other toys.
So my God.
Other toys,
you know what I'm saying? My brother. But this right here, so I know it doesn't look like much, but it's supposed to constrict a little bit, right? C ring really is for constriction ring, but what the constriction does, and I always tell people for safety, in case you don't know, when you use a ring, you're not supposed to use it for more than about 15 to 20 minutes. Because beyond that, it's no different than when we put a scrunchie on. It'll start, the goal of this, it actually helps with men lasting longer, all kind of stuff too. A lot of guys who have ED, I've had to put it in their hands, all kind of stuff, because the constriction basically traps the blood flow in the shaft. And that's what keeps the erection vital and strong. And no matter what position, because sometimes... Ladies, y'all know we could feel. You ever feel them growing you? You just.
Yeah.
And he could still be hard, but then it's another thing when you do something that really tripped that wire, and it's like that bad boy is like he in there with it. So yeah. The ring kind of helps with that sort of power. Basically, we're getting you your most strong of an erection, but this one has a vibration in it, right? And so, it's not, this is the low setting, so it's not too crazy.
Oh, that's
right.
Okay.
But you can place it under. So, if I'm not going to use it on a toy, but my hand will be it. If you wear it under, obviously, every time y'all collide, it interacts with the balls. So you get a little sensation there. But if you flip it upward and you're missionary, then it hits her, right? Every time you go in. If you're doggy, that's where you end up with the sweet spot, because it's almost like when you go doggy, you flipping everything upside down. So when you wear it this angle doggy, it hits both her clit and your balls at the same time.
That's what I was thinking the first time.
Yeah. So that's it. But people don't realize. People don't realize that what position you're in determines which way. Because if you're missionary, now the clit is above versus when you're doggy, it now comes under. Yeah. So I want to.
And when she on top. We want it
facing upward.
To
hit her there.
Yes.
Excuse me. Yeah. And even if you left it facing downward, it depends on whether it's for you or her, because it feels nice on you. It's fully waterproof. So I know you're going on that trip. You know what I'm saying? Y'all end up in somewhere with some big tub of water or a shower or whatever.
The kids would be with me. Cock block and cock. Man, I need a double lock.
Do two of them on the door,
yeah. Because the little one be like, "Yo," I said, "Yo, my man, if you bust in my room one more time, somebody getting a beating." Okay, I'm a knock.
I'm telling you, it's no joke, but I'll tell you another little free game, because I always like people to figure out how to get the most use. You see how I got it on my fingers like a ring? This now makes it, you catching what I'm putting, so you could be, picking up what I'm putting down.
That's even when you got her on the edge of the bed, they up here, and you working it, and you playing with the,
So now you can, and sometimes even for her, I always tell people, whenever something can attach or be on your hand, it's not something you got to hold or control. It just becomes real easy. So it's, depending on the person's finger sizes, how much they use. But even as a woman, sometimes I can take it and control that part of the aspect. If I'm doggy, I could be doing it as well. So she can independently also use it, or you can use it in other ways outside of that. And it comes with a charger. So when you
I was gonna ask you where the charger at.
So two things.
Where the charger?
Let me let it live in your hand for a second, because it's on. Right. It comes with the charger in there. And this is the box, the privacy box that you can keep it in. So our packaging is one thing I don't think we don't get enough credit for. The packaging is sexy, first of all. So it'll come in this black and gold box. If you sat that on a dresser, most people wouldn't even know what that is.
Yeah.
But inside, this will be in there. So now you have a privacy box that kind of stores it. It has the manual, it has the charger, and it also has this travel pouch, satin pouch. Take it on the go. if you're going somewhere, so you don't have to move with the box. The satin is important because the material will help not allow dust and fibers and things to sit on it, which could lead to other stuff.
infections.
So it helps you keep it cleaner. Yeah. So I wanted to know if you were open to it. And if so, I'm thinking that might be a nice little honeymoon.
Listen, this my way. Listen, listen.
And to cut it on, I'm gonna show you where.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, how you cut that thing on?
And the buttons, because to keep it waterproof, you can't have buttons on the outside. That's how we keep water from getting in. But this little square right there.
Oh, okay.
And it has a bunch of different settings. I'm cycling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you just press and hold for 3 seconds. And that powers it
okay.
off. And the same to cut it on. We do that because we don't want it to cut off at the wrong time or on at the wrong time.
That's true.
Some of these toys, you just tap it once, the next thing you know is
going.
So we always build in that sort of like fail safe. You got to hold it for 3 seconds to cut it off or on. And it tuck the charger right back in, put it right back inside, put your thing inside, and it stores away just like that. So we like to make sure you got a nice little something. So I look forward to wifey's joy.
Thank you.
And now I know you like arrows. So, but yeah, we have tons of stuff. I mean, I really think men just got to open up their minds a little bit. I always tell people toys are not your competition. They're your collaboration. They're your best tag team partner that you could tap into. Doesn't mean you're incapable. Doesn't mean you can't do it or you're not better. You're not this. We all have days.
And again, it all depends on how comfortable you are satisfying
the person
your partner. And if at one time, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you some game. I'm like, yo, I'm here, but I'm not here for a long time, so you better figure your shit out, because I'm gonna figure mine out. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't my job. This ain't my job. I got a job. My job is to make sure I'm good. You better make sure you on your job.
Right. And take care of you too.
Cause listen, this ain't this. We not in love. This ain't a love thing. You know what I'm saying? We here for a moment. I'm gonna be on mine. You better be on yours.
That's how a lot of what's so crazy about it is I think most people already operate with a little bit of that in them. But like you said, once you get that person, now you realize. Now I gotta care about your pleasure. You gotta care about mine. And so it switches up. Everybody's gonna go through that. You're gonna hit a point where you're gonna realize that all the other stuff gets tired, all the other stuff gets old. I'm not saying not to enjoy your life, you live your life. Do it safely. Do it safely, please. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But when you are at a point in life, like you said, where you're ready to elevate that with something that's a little bit more meaningful, you get intentional, and intentionality means you're not afraid to incorporate something that might enhance. Yeah. Doesn't stop you. It's just an addition. It's an enhancement. You know what I'm saying? So, first of all, thank you for
thank you
being super open in the conversation. I think there was a lot for people to hear and to learn, and I'm hoping that we can get this in front of as many of the young dudes that we was talking about, but also women. Hear it from a male perspective is important. We can't do nothing, just operate in our own self. We don't live in this world by ourselves. Whether you straight, gay, bi, whatever, at the end of the day, we're in this world with other people. And so having the ability to just coexist, communicate, show consideration, be a certain kind of person is necessary, but it's absolutely necessary when we're talking about connection and intimacy and finding a certain type of love and things like that. And I think that a lot of y'all either got it or you looking for it. So I hope that this conversation, you know what I'm saying, is something. What I would love for you to do, Money Making Monday, y'all know we drop on Mondays. Take a time to let people know how they could connect with you, because the same way you came and shared your abundance and wealth with our viewers, we want them to know. Now we want to pay it back to you. You know what I'm saying? And let them know where to find you.
Well, you could actually find me. We do, like I said, our podcast is 237 No Place Like Home. You can find us on IG, TikTok, YouTube, all your platforms. Actually, I also do I do some merchandise.
Yes.
You could do Scribbles on Threads official, because that's where a lot of the actual merchandise is at. Mm-hmm. I was like, but you could find me Scribbles on Threads, Scribbles on Threads official. The site is down, but I gotta put it back up.
Okay.
But yeah,
They can reach out to you direct.
Yeah. You could send me a DM. You could send like I said, Scribbles on Threads official, and again, you can find us 237 No Place Like Home on all platforms.
And we'll make sure we plug those links in the description on YouTube. And when we always send out a newsletter when we get a new episode. So we'll make sure you guys have the socials to connect. Absolutely tap in and check in. If you appreciated the conversation he brought today, know that this is one of many that he holds. And very interesting talks and some very interesting people in different walks of life. So thank you. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And show some love to our men. Happy Father's Day. By the time you're watching this episode, you know what I'm saying? Show love. We want you to know that we care about you. We care about your health. We care about your mental state. Here at Bedroom Candy, we're not just for women. We're for all of us. We got men in our community. Shout out to our male consultants who are out there doing the work that a lot of guys are scared to do. We got to give it up to you guys. And I hope you guys tune back in because, of course, we got more to come on the Business of Pleasure podcast with your girl, Kash, your sexologist bestie. Head over to bedroomcandy.com. Check out what we got going on this month, guys. When you purchase and spend $100, we're giving you a free grooming kit. A free grooming kit to gift to any man in your life that you see fit of a little love. Don't hesitate. Y'all saw how he responded to that head to toe, though. Y'all saw that. Throw it in there with it because that's going to make the kit complete. But we want to help you show the men in your life love this month. So we're giving you the gift for free. You just got to re-gift it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody have a good one. I'll catch y'all again soon.